Hey YouTube and fans of Rambo. So here we go. This is the complete collection that I've got. These are just cheaper wall hangers and others. None of these are genuine knives made by any of the makers. But as a set, I think they're pretty cool. And I've had these guys, and well, actually these first three since this one was first. Actually, I got this for my 18th birthday, and I'm 52 now, so it's been a while. And then I got these two, and I think the throwing knife, a little boot dagger, Christmas of '89 or something. So yeah, it's been a while. And then we had a big break in the Rambo franchise until, wow, almost it was almost 20 years. Scary. And then we had 4 come out, and then of course 5 in 2019. So and apparently they're doing a 6th one, so who knows where that's going to go. So we'll look at these each one in turn, starting with the original First Blood. Now, as I've said in previous videos, this is not a screen accurate one because it only has the 12 teeth, not the 14 that the screen used knife has, but it does have the split teeth, and everything else about it is identical. So it's a cool thing. As I said in earlier videos, these are just wall hangers because they use an aluminium handle, not a stainless construction. And I think they're just epoxied on. So you're not really going to be taking these out and working them too hard in the bush. But people have and have held up, but I personally wouldn't. So this one here, 9-inch blade, 1.5 inch wide, 1/4 inch thick, and it's supposed to have the 14 teeth and a clip grind that is fairly square, so it comes down and across, where this one has clip grind that follows the basically just follows the contours of the knife. It is a cool thing though. It's a good size knife. I like it. It's probably the most practical out of all of them, with the exception of this one, simply because of its size, and it's pretty light. The sheath that comes with them, obviously, they're not anything screen accurate about these. For one, it's a right-handed sheath, not a left, and it's just leather with a strap. There's no stone case on the front, so that is what it is. I don't know how they'd even go releasing a knife without the retainer strap. I think Master Cutlery might have done one. Can't remember. I know that the Hollywood Collectible Group moved their stone case down so they could include a retainer. So I'm not sure how that would work. So that was 1982. Then in 1985 we got the sequel, Rambo First Blood Part 2. And out comes the bigger brother, the mission knife, and it's very cool, black and silver edged. Styling, it's bigger. It's got the 10-inch blade, 2 inches wide, still 1/4 inch thick. Same idea with the guard. Both the First Blood and the Rambo First Blood Part 2 have the screwdriver ends on the guard. And so yeah, it was just a bigger version, more dynamic on screen, and it's a favourite for collectors. So it's I do like the mission knife. It is cool, but I don't think it's a practical knife. So I've blackened out my end cap to make it a bit more screen accurate. Then a few years later we got part 3, Rambo 3. Kind of always wondered why he called it just Rambo 3 as opposed to First Blood Part 3, but anyway, it's a different maker by that stage. So we went from Jimmy Lyle for the first two to Gil Hibben for this beast. And so this is bigger again, this time with an 11-inch blade, 2 inches wide and 1/4 inch thick, but no saw teeth. Instead it's got this slot in the middle, which apparently there was a clip-in accessory like a double-headed axe that went in there, but they decided not to use it, and I'm kind of glad they didn't. The beastie knife though, it's very, very sort of it's almost a bit Dundee, but I think Dundee's is actually bigger with a 12-inch blade. So but yeah, no, I like it. Solid handles, so no hollow handle on this one. Now, interestingly enough, when you watch the movie, in the mines scene, the rescue scene, they had originally used a hybrid knife that had a similar guard, but a blade closer to the mission knife, and a green cord-wrapped handle, but the handle was scalloped with finger grooves, and that is often known as the rescue knife. I don't have one of those in my collection, and I didn't bother with it because even though it is on screen for a brief, short time, it's not officially supposed to be one of the knives, so I didn't bother with it. And I don't think anyone actually makes replicas, not in this price range anyway. So yeah, I don't have one of those. Who knows? Maybe in the future I might get something. The difference between this and the mission, of course, is this is all shiny silver. The whole point of the mission knife being black and even the First Blood knife being grey was to minimise reflections, and this thing is certainly all about look at me when it reflects. But it's a pretty cool design by Gil Hibben, and there was also there's been a couple of boot knives in both movies. In those movies, was First Blood Part 2 had a boot knife, and Part 3 had a boot knife. So I have got one, but these are not screen accurate at all, simply because, well, it has a great big Rambo 3 in the handle, and that certainly doesn't have that in the movie. But yeah, this is supposed to be the knife that he cuts the end of the bullet off with before doing the burn to cauterize the wound that he sustained escaping from the Russian camp. So it's I always thought the screen one was actually bigger than this, but I'm not sure. If someone's got the real Hibben knife, it'd be cool to know. This has got I would have to say it's a ruler. I do have a ruler. It's only a 6-inch blade. I'm pretty sure they were supposed to be 7 or 8-inch blades on the real deal. But anyway, that is what it is. I think it's only 6 by 1, or just over 1 inch. It does have the spring steel clip for a boot knife, so it is usable. Just has that gaudy big embossing on the aluminium. And then, as I said, it was many years. It was nearly 20 years later before the 4th installment came out, and that was a movie originally titled as John Rambo, and then renamed just Rambo. Again, no tie into First Blood, apart from the character, obviously. And it's there's 2 versions of that movie, which is I actually do like the director's cut. Probably a bit more than the theatrical cut. It's one of the rare cases where I do like the director's cut. In that cut, he has the mission knife, but it's in this sheath, and he throws it into the fire to try and rid his demons. And then, of course, when he has to go to his mission to rescue these Christians, he has to make a new knife. So he ends up forging this great big beast of a thing out of a leaf spring. And so, of course, we spoke about this one last night and the mod that I did to the sheath. But yeah, this thing is huge, big hunk of steel, and it's brutal. It's made to look brutal, and it was made to be brutal. And it gets the point across. What was supposed to happen was he was supposed to have cut this sheath down, but if we look at that, these are completely different shapes. So, I mean, even if that was cut off, the strap was cut off and that was cut off square, this part here, right there, stops it ever becoming this. So, because the length is pretty much the same, and but yeah, this just doesn't work, because this is pretty much, it's got a slight curve on it, but it's pretty much just straight, where this is quite contoured. So that part's kind of always bothered me a bit, but nonetheless, it's a cool tie-in and justification why this sheath has the single press stud, which is supposed to be that press stud. Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, so unless you see the director's cut, you won't see the mission knife. Well, does he use it in the theatrical cut? He doesn't throw it in the fire anyway in the theatrical cut. Actually, I think he does use it for stabbing the fuel canisters, fuel cans that he finds on that pirate ship. But the point being, he disposes of that knife, has to make a new knife, and hence what he makes is this thing, this beast. Then that movie finishes up with him heading back to the US and going back to his father's ranch. And then in the 2019 movie, we see that John is sort of settling in, training horses and stuff, and he's forging a knife when his niece comes down to ask what he's doing. He doesn't really tell her, he just says that he's working on something and then sort of puts it down. But the shape of the thing that he is making is absolutely this, which is of course revealed at the end of the movie, the Heartstopper. This is a beast. Really do like this, and the more I hold it, the more I like it. I'm even warming up to this sub hilt, which I didn't like when I first got this knife, but yeah, this thing is a beast. So this one's the Hollywood Collectible First Run series, and of course I've changed the colour of the handle scales to try and make it a little bit more screen accurate. Yeah, it's just it's brutal. It's big. It's thick, 2 inches wide at its widest point, 1/4 inch thick, 9-inch blade. It's a 6-inch handle with this skull crusher on the end, and it's yeah, it is just a brutal piece. Interesting though, no saw teeth, no hollow handles, so that was kind of almost an era that ended with the mission knife, I guess. But before he uses the heart stopper, he has a smaller knife hanging up on the wall, along with the machete from before. It's also up there, and this is known as the Bowie or Bowie, depending on how you want to pronounce that. It's an 8" by 1.5" knife. It's actually really, really neat. I like this one. It's got a really positive feel. It's just, I think, out of all the knives, if you're actually going to use one, this would have to be it. It's big enough to be functional, small enough to be practical, and it's just a really comfortable handle to hold. It's quite a chunky handle, but it's comfortable. There's nothing sticking out, going to bite you. It's just a really, really good thing. So again, so all the knives tend to be 1/4 inch thick. This is not the first run from HGC. This is a standard version, so it is cheaper. And what it comes with is a cheaper version of the sheath, as opposed to the really nice top grain leather that you got on the first runs. I had the opportunity to get a first run of these, but I elected not to keep it. Because, you know, again, I don't really care about the numbers. I mean, this, I only bought it because it was at a good price and it was available. And I really didn't know that the United Cutlery one was out. Otherwise, I probably would have got that one instead. Given that all these are, the first 4 are United Cutlery, it would have been cool to have the 5th one as a United Cutlery. And who knows, maybe one day in the future I'll buy one. But there it is. That's a quick look at all of my Rambo knives, and it'll be interesting to see if the 6th movie does get made and if it does bring in another knife and what that will be. There are other knives featured in the films, such as the push daggers that Rambo has on his belt. He also has a boot knife in that movie, different to the boot knife that's seen up there and used in 3. And also there's some throwing knives in the Last Blood movie as well. So along with the dagger that he makes for his niece, and so there are other knives, but these are the main ones, the ones that he uses mainly. And I think, as I said, they're really cool. So this video is running over 18 minutes, so I'm going to wrap it up there and say thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.